Welcome everybody to QuickBooks Updates Quarter 2 Advanced Webinar Series by Hector Garcia. If you are watching this recording afterwards, the link to the slides should be in the description of the video somewhere, or it's showing in the first 3 slides. You can manually type that into your browser and get that. Otherwise, if you are in the live Zoom, you should be able to see the link to the slides if you want copies of that in the chat, or everybody that registered for the webinar is going to get the email with a copy of the link and the resources and all of that stuff. So let's get right started. So today's session would be maybe a little bit less than an hour. This is the Quarter 2 updates for 2025. We'll spend about 15 minutes just talking about like what's going on, Intuit news, some of the things that we've added to RightTool, my app, in the last quarter, the QBO certifications and some other live webinars and live trainings that we have. That will spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes to talk about a couple of enhancements that we've seen this quarter in QuickBooks Online Accountant Edition, some new features there. And then we'll do maybe 15, 20 minutes on the regular QuickBooks Online, not the Accountant Edition, but the one that our clients see. There's been some updates to custom fields, some updates to the new bank feed screen, some updates to the new Fusion. It's called Fusion, the new homepage design. I'll give you some pros and cons on that. Something called the Zen mode, which is awesome, really awesome. They're beta testing that, and the new updated search screen. And then if we have time at the end, I'll kind of talk through some of the cool things that I've seen in the recent release of Intuit Enterprise Suite that just came out end of March, the beginning of April. Some new updates on that. So let's really quick, let's talk about news. So other upcoming free webinars available tomorrow, Friday, May 23rd. We have the part 5 of the Pricing with Confidence series for Reframe webinars at 1 p.m. Eastern. On the 27th, my brother Carlos is going to do a Zoom. It's a Zoom, not a webinar. It's an actual Zoom meeting. It's going to be an interactive meeting called Exactly What to Say for Accountants. It's going to be a role play for those that have read the Exactly What to Say book. So if you want access to that, it's going to be pretty limited. So just email him. The information is in the slides. Just email him and say you want to be part of it, and he'll send you the Zoom link. So check that out. That's going to be on the 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern. Then on June 2nd, I'm doing an AI webinar for CPA Academy. It's going to be a June 2025 update for mostly ChatGPT. I'm actually going to go deep into what we're calling contextual features in ChatGPT. So all the new features that have come out that allow you to have really contextual chats, contextual to your email, contextual to your Google Drive, contextual to your Dropbox, contextual to your OneDrive. Projects, custom GPTs. We're going to compare all that. It's going to be a really great webinar because it really does summarize, particularly how accounting firms, CPA firms, bookkeeping firms, it's on CPA Academy, so it says for CPA firms, but it's really for any accounting firm, how they can use their own context, their own knowledge base with ChatGPT. And then on June 4th at 1 p.m. Eastern, we'll be having our bi-monthly, so every other month update for our RightTool webinars for our RightTool users. Now we have 2 live in-person events coming up. One is going to be in New York City, and this is the last day in our US tour for our Influential Conversations one-day workshop. This is going to be on Monday, June 9th. So if you live in New York City or can be in New York City on June 9th, definitely come. These events are incredible, not just because I do them, because my brother Carlos is involved too. It's because that you walk out feeling that you have better tools to talk to your clients, to express your value, to have value conversations. And the ultimate goal to be more influential with your conversations is to pick the right clients and price yourself correctly, communicate your value so you get a lot less pushback, especially when you're having price increases. And then we'll have no more live events until November, where we have our big event, our 2.5-day event, a workshop in Miami called Pricing with Confidence, where we go really deep into the concept of value pricing, packaging, how to price, how to quantify the work that you're doing to come up with a number, how to extract from your customer what is that number that they're willing to pay. So we're going to be spending 1 day in New York talking about how to have conversations, ask really good questions, have really good dialogue, and then 2.5 days in November on the actual process of pricing and packaging your services. So if you can make it to any of those or both, even better, go ahead and do it. The links are in there. The New York event is small, so it'll be like 20 people, and the Miami event is big. It's like 150 people. So that gives you an idea more or less for the magnitude and type of event, right? So the first one's really a small workshop. The Miami one is a large scale workshop. Okay. And and that's it. ProAdvisor recertification. Keep in mind that you have until June 30th to get recertified, either the level 1 certification or what used to be the advanced certification, the level 2 certification. And I'm going to go into the new certification portal because a lot of people haven't had a chance to see this. They completely redesigned the certification page. So it looks like this now. You have My Hub, you have certifications, so any certifications that you have, you'll be able to see here. And then under Learn, that's where you can sort of apply or enroll in any of the courses. So if you want to enroll in any particular course, you can click here and Start, and you enroll in that particular course, and then of course you get the certification once you test out of those courses. And there's a testing the testing out process. So definitely check it out. If you already are certified, just make sure you come back here and get recertified. They redesigned it. It looks really nice. It's really easy to navigate. I am currently happy with what they did with the page. I think it looks pretty good. Okay, so the next slide here is more Intuit news. So QBO and Intuit announced that QBO will add 4 new APIs this summer. They're going to add a custom fields API, so you can read and write into the custom fields in all transactions for all 12 of the custom fields, which is huge news, especially for QBO advanced customers that were putting a bunch of data in the custom fields field, but they couldn't get it out in reports, for example, especially with a custom reporting app or something like that, because API means a third-party app. They're also going to add a payroll compensation items access to the API. So any apps that do time tracking, they will be able to send timesheets into QuickBooks Online that contains the payroll item. So it helps you flow through the paycheck without having to take one more step to pick the individual payroll items when you create a paycheck from a timesheet. So now third-party apps have access to your list of compensation items, so you can add them into the timesheet when you're importing them from a third-party app. Projects will be added to API. Now, prior to this, like right now, third-party apps can read a project that's already been created in QuickBooks Online, but it cannot create a new project. And if you're using a third-party app like Notify or Builder Trend or something like that for your construction company, and you're bringing in projects, it brings it as a sub-customer, and then you have to manually go into QBO and convert that into a project. So project creation is currently not available via a third-party app. So now they're going to add the ability to write into projects and access some project data. And they're also going to open up sales tax in the API. So a third-party app will be able to use QBO's sales tax engine to calculate sales tax. That way you have a consistent sales tax system in place for calculating transactions. So let's call it the good news. The bad news, and again, it depends how you frame it, I guess. But the bad news is that Intuit is designing a partner program that's different than what the old partner program was. So essentially, for the last, I don't know how many years that QBO has existed, the QBO ecosystem has been 100% free. That means that third-party developers can read and write data, like right now, into QuickBooks Online, and they don't pay Intuit anything. Intuit decided that starting July 28th, they're going to start measuring how much data is coming into QuickBooks and out of QuickBooks using third-party apps. And the idea is that third-party apps know and have an idea exactly what kind of data is being moved. And then starting November 1st, they're going to start charging developers that pull more than 500,000 API calls, data out, coming out of QuickBooks. So what that means, and by the way, that seems like a big number. That's a big number if you look at how much lines of data your particular company file has. But it's not such a big number when we have a company like, I don't know, Bill.com that has a gazillion number of customers that they're pulling data all day long. They'll get to 500,000 really quick. So when they start charging app developers to pull data out of QuickBooks, a couple of things are bound to happen. One, some apps might just leave the ecosystem and go, you know what, screw it. I'm not going to do any integration with QuickBooks because I'm priced out. I can't afford to pay Intuit for integration. Or what's more likely to happen is it will be translated into the price of the apps. So I suspect that apps are going to be increasing their prices at the end of this year or at the beginning of next year pretty aggressively to make up for what they now have to pay Intuit so to interact with QuickBooks, to transfer data out of QuickBooks. Now, interestingly enough, they're not going to charge developers for putting data into QuickBooks, but they'll charge the developers to get data out of QuickBooks. So the apps that pull a lot of data from QuickBooks, like the reporting apps, those are the ones that are going to suffer the most because those are all they do is pull data out, right? Like, a SaaSan that imports data might not be affected as much, although we can argue that many times you have to pull data out of QuickBooks so you can validate the data coming in. So you got to pull the chart of accounts, you got to pull the customer list, you got to pull the vendor list, you have to pull the number of checks that you've written or whatever. So when you put data in, it can validate if there's a duplicate or if you don't have the right vendor or the right customer, or you should create a new customer or a new vendor or a new account or a new item, that sort of thing. So developers really are going to have to pull data out to be able to pull data in at some point. So I think that overall, this is going to have that two-side effect. One, some apps might leave the ecosystem, might go broke, or might end up merging with other apps. There might be some mergers and acquisitions in the area, or the prices will go up. And that's going to be essentially, I did a podcast not too long ago with Blake Oliver and David Leary, where they asked me what I think about this. And I said, this is a tariff. This is a tariff on developers. And the argument for tariffs is, well, the customers don't pay for it. It is the country that pays for it, or it's the exporters, the importers that pay for it, et cetera, et cetera. But the reality is that this absolutely translates over to the customer, because developers have to make up for that cost, right? So that's a really important thing. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next slide here. And I would love to know in your chat, what do you think? Like, what do you think about this? Like the live chat, what consequences you think this charging the third parties for API that could have, like good or bad? So it's mostly the apps that get data out of QuickBooks. In other Intuit news, they announced that the registration opens pretty soon. They like to announce that it will sell out and that it could sell out, that you should buy the tickets fairly early. Supposedly it goes on sale on May 28th. Intuit Connect is a really good conference. It's a very fun conference. I've been there almost every year. I've spoken every year except for the year that I had vocal cord surgery, because I couldn't speak literally that week that I had it, and I have fun every single time. I feel very grateful for going. Every year it feels a lot more like a big infomercial for QuickBooks and Intuit and the Intuit ecosystem and QuickBooks Online. It is Intuit's conference, right? So that's what it's there for. But they do make a lot of really cool announcements, and you get to know what's going on and what's coming in the future, and stuff that happens with QuickBooks catches you by surprise a lot less when you go to these events. And also the people that go there, like our community, accounting professionals, are absolutely fantastic. And I would say that's probably the best place to network with as many like-minded QuickBooks consultants, QuickBooks accountants, bookkeepers as possible. So I would recommend to check that out. Okay, so let's move on to RightTool PRO. For those that might not know, RightTool PRO, it's an app that I created 2.5 years ago with my partner Mark, and and Patrick, and it's an add-on. The website is RightTool.app, and we every quarter or so we add a couple of features to add things to QuickBooks Online that QuickBooks Online doesn't have. And in the slides, there's links to videos that walk you through each one. I'm not going to bore you with everyone, but I'm just going to walk you through the new things that we added this quarter. So we added a tool to batch rename projects. So we had one of our clients said, "Hey, I want to add a particular text to the project name so I can filter it or in reports or something like that. So I want to be able to in batch go into all my reports that are completed, and I want to add a particular text to it." So that's basically what we added. It's a way to select a bunch of projects and add a text to it. The other feature we added is to quickly create a sub account. So when you're in the chart of accounts, I'll show you some context here. Actually, I could demo this. Let me turn on RightTool to show you. So I'm going to turn on the extension, and then I'm going to go into QuickBooks Online. I'll switch to let's refresh here, and I'm going to switch to the regular edition of QuickBooks Online, not because we're going to talk about the new Fusion model in a little bit, the new look, so to speak, that a lot of accounting professionals are not digging too much. But I'm going to show you the premise of why I think it's some of these chart of account features are valuable. So when you go into your chart of accounts, okay, it's kind of a pain in the butt to create a sub account. To create a sub account for cash, like I want to create, let's say, a sub account under cash. I got to go to new. I have to go to the cash to or whatever, then click on the drop down, select the bank account, and then click on make sub account, and then select the parent account, and then click save. So it's like too many steps. So what we've done is we added a little module here. Let me turn this on. Let me go into chart of accounts. Let me turn that on for you. And I might not demo it if it doesn't show, because this recently came out. But we added a tool where you click on the drop down menu here, or here it is. So instead of clicking all those steps, I click on the drop down menu, click here where it says create sub account, click on that, and it automatically opens the screen for me, and it pre-fills the information for me. So all I have to do is just type the name of the account, and it did select the bank account, it selected the detail type, it selected the parent account, all in one shot. So it saved me basically 3 clicks. And that's the philosophy of RightTool, essentially, is can we figure out ways to save the user 2 or 3 clicks here and there, and that's the type of features that we have. Then another one is I really, really dig is called the landed cost calculator. Now this one, I'm going to attempt to show this without spending a whole bunch of time doing it, but it's got a lot of moving parts. But you will particularly like this, especially if you have any clients that manage inventory and they're recently dealing with like tariffs and that sort of thing, where they're like, okay, I don't know what my real inventory cost is, because it has a tariff involved, and not just tariffs, right? Because this is not something that's brand new. But let me just make sure that I have landed cost allocator turned on here. Here you go. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to create a bill, and let's say that I paid U.S. Customs. Okay, so we'll use the example of the tariffs. So I pay U.S. Custom, let's say $3,000 to bring in some product in. So I'm gonna go here and type freight costs, and let's just say $5,000. Simple. Okay. So in a separate transaction, on a different situation, on a different month, it doesn't matter. I had to pay U.S. Customs $5,000. Then I go and I receive my inventory. Like I'm buying some inventory from some vendor. So let's say some vendor from China. Okay, so let's say we have a China vendor here. So we'll create here China vendor. Whoops, we go back into the bill here. So I'll create a new vendor here. So this is China. Okay, so China vendor. Okay, and then I'm gonna buy products from them. So we'll buy this item and that item, and just pick some other items here. If I have any widgets, classic widget, there we go. So I'm buying a bunch of items, just do all widgets. Having it widget X and then widget. Okay. Wait, not this one. Let's do widget 1. Okay. So I'm buying a bunch of items. Let's say I buy 400 of one, 300 of one, and 100 of the other. And these all are showing up at $25 a pop. The problem is, and the problem that we're trying to solve here is that the true cost of my inventory is not $25 a pop. I have to grab the $5,000 I spent in customs, freight, shipping, whatever, right? And I have to spread that into my product. But I need the bill to pay my vendor to still be $2,000, right? Because the cost of my items are going up, but the bill, the transaction that with my vendor is still $2,000. So I have to somehow figure out how to allocate the $5,000 across each of these items, but also make this bill $2,000. So we created this tool called the Landed Cost Allocator. So you click right there where it says Landed Cost. You have this pop-up that's going to ask you, okay, what is your total landed cost? So I'm going to go in there and say, okay, that was $5,000. Okay. And then it says, what method of allocation do you want to use to allocate? So I can do based on value. So it will look at the total dollar value of the entire bill and spread it accordingly. So take the $5,000, spread it, and allocate it to each individual item. Or I can say based on quantity, okay, and then I will do it based on quantity, or I can do it equal, and it'll just divide the $5,000 by 3 and spread it across. So you actually get multiple ways to allocate depending on your allocation philosophy. Then down here, you pick the account that you're going to allocate to, which in this case is the freight cost, which basically is the same account that I put there, and I'll put here allocating tariffs or whatever. And I don't know how to spell tariffs, but prior to today, I never had to use that word. Okay, so we put here allocating tariffs. We select the account that we're reversing, which is the one that initially enters. And then I have a couple of options. I can export to CSV. So that way I have basically like a worksheet. I have a source document. So I can take that CSV and upload it to the document or something like that. And then that allows me to have, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. That allows me to have sort of the original data set here. So we have the item name, the quantity, the original rate, the allocated cost. So we have that stuff saved in there for us. Okay. So then I'm going to click on update. And when I click on update, RightTool, what it does is it goes in there, modifies the individual rate of each of the items for you. In the description, he adds the original cost and the allocated landed cost, so you know exactly what happened. And then it automatically reverses, as you can see here, with the note, the account. That way, the vendor bill is still $2,000. And then here's the information that says RightTool landed cost added $5,000 on 522 by Hector. So that gives me, and it just basically lets me know exactly what I did. And then I can go to add attachment, and then I can upload that little CSV file that I had if I wanted to see the worksheet prior to doing the allocation. And then I just click on save. So my bill is still $2,000. My original freight out expense got reversed. So at the end, that number doesn't exist in my P&L, and my inventory items are all brought into the right dollar amounts. So very proud of that tool. I love it. So that's part of RightTool Pro. And then I'll go straight into QuickBooks. But the other things that we added was add, edit custom fields in existing transactions. We rushed to build that tool because Intuit had announced that they're going to kill tags, and they kind of backtracked, and then tags still exist, but we don't know if they're going to live forever. So we added a tool that allows you to go back to transactions and add data into the custom fields in case you want to migrate over to custom fields. We also have batch merge accounts in QBO. This one I can show really quick. This is a game changer for a lot of people, especially people that have to clean up, messy chart of accounts. So eventually, if you got 2 accounts or 3 accounts that you want to merge, you select the accounts that you want to merge. You go up here to batch actions. You click on merge accounts. Okay, so it's in red because it's a RightTool feature. You go to merge accounts. You pick the account you want to merge into. So let's say it was this one. We go to start merging accounts, and it will do the merging for you, right? So like you could do them in batch, do multiple accounts all in one shot. And if the account has connected bank feeds or something like that, yeah, you're gonna get an error. But I did the example with bank accounts, which are a little bit trickier. But like if you want to merge expense accounts, for example, or asset accounts or something like that, that's going to be a lot easier because those typically don't have bank feeds connected to it or some underlying rule that won't allow you to merge the accounts. But so if you're going to merge expense accounts and income accounts and stuff like that, that's going to work super well with RightTool. Now we also added batch edit accounts and account numbers in the chart of accounts. So if you wanted to export your chart of accounts into a spreadsheet, change all the numbers and names, import them back in, it will have that. And then we also recently added a beta feature that allows you to batch import timesheets, all available in RightTool PRO, which is the paid edition of RightTool. There's also a free edition that doesn't contain any of the batching stuff, but it contains a lot of time-saving features. So if you haven't tried RightTool yet, definitely at least try the free edition. Now in the chat, someone's saying that supposedly they are releasing, or they're asking if QuickBooks Desktop will have a recertification exam. As far as I know, no. I don't think QuickBooks Desktop is going to get recertification. I think it's just going to be QuickBooks Online only. I don't think QuickBooks Online or Intuit in general cares too much about their desktop clients or their desktop business at this point. It's just mostly 100% focused on QuickBooks Online. So QuickBooks Online Accountant added 2 things that I love. The client list now has this little field called the client number. So I know a lot of accounting firms have a lot of, like I had one accounting firm I was consulting with that had 600 QBO accounts, and sorting by name wasn't good enough. They had to sort. They wanted to sort by client number or filter by client number, and adding a client number or a client ID. I think a client ID might be a better terminology. That's really cool. So now you can add a client ID to your QuickBooks Online Accountant clients. You can also customize the screen. Let me open up QBO and show you. I like these features a lot. So when I go into my accountant account, and I go through my client list, let me wait until that loads. You notice that you see this client number column. So the way you get access to that is you have to click on Customize. And under columns, you have to enable client number. So that's a new checkbox that you see in there. Give me 1 second. You also have this alternative color. You have different settings in terms of how big you want the spacing between your clients. And you can turn on this column called lead. And you can change the order of these. So like if you want to, any specific order you prefer to have, you can have. And I always love customizing the way the screens look. Now this lead here is the accountant that in your firm that is in charge of working with that particular customer. So depending on who's assigned to that customer, you get to see it here. And you can also filter and say, you know what, I only want to see the clients that are assigned to one of my lead accountants or the other lead accountants. And if you want to edit who that lead accountant is, you come in here, you go to the drop down, and you click on edit leads. So down here, edit leads, and then you choose, okay, so for this specific customer, the lead is going to be this accountant. And for this specific customer, the lead is going to be that accountant, okay? And once you select that, you click on save. Then when you go back into that screen, it shows you a different lead here in the lead screen. So I like that. And then you can filter and only show the clients where the lead accountant is somebody else. This is only Andrea's client and so forth. So I love those 2 little things. They're super, super neat. Another hidden sort of really cool feature, which I haven't seen anywhere else in QuickBooks. I only see it in the new client list, but I really like it, which is before I go sort by contact, I get a little drop down, like a little tiny drop down menu that shows up in there that helps me choose ascending or descending, which typically you toggle that, so you don't really need a drop down menu for that. But I like this hide column. I like that. It's really awesome. I can hide the column, and then I could come back and customize and then choose the columns I want to show. So I really, really love being able to quickly say, you know what, I don't want this. Go into the customize screen or go into hide column. I absolutely love that. I think they did a really good job with this, and I'm kind of hoping that they continue to add this little sub menu feature across everywhere in QuickBooks Online, but I haven't seen it anywhere else, and maybe I'll stumble upon that. But I really like that. So if anybody from Intuit is watching, which they always are, good job on that. And now the second step is get it done across all the screens. The other thing I really like is that they've been improving heavily on team access. So when you think about your accounting firm and the team you have in your accounting firm, you might want to give them very specific client roles where I only want them to access a particular area in that client. So for example, let's say I have a team member that's only going to deal with banking or something like that. So banking only. So then I'll go in here, and the only thing I'll give them access to is the banking side, for example. Okay, and then that would be a banking only role. Okay, or I can do let's say sales only. Okay, I'll turn off the bookkeeping access. Then I go into sales, and then I'll give them access to everything in sales. So you now get to pick with the same level of granularity. It's not an easy word to say. So with the same level of granularity, you're able to choose what role you're going to give to the specific team member that you're giving access to your client. Because your client will give you, let's say the lead accountant, the main accountant, they will give you access to their books and they'll give you unlimited access, but they're trusting you with that information. And you may have a junior person that you only want them to be receiving payments, you only want them to be creating bill payments or whatever. Like just you want to really limit what they're going to have access to, and you're able to do that by creating custom roles. And these custom roles now translate over to your clients. And there's also these things called firm roles, where you can choose what level of access you want the team member to have in your firm's books, so in particular in your accounting firm's books. So you get both that high level granularity or a little bit higher level granularity to have a user have certain access to the firm's books, and also certain access to the client books. And here under certifications, you can also see which of your team members are certified. Okay, so which of your team members are showing certified, or which ones have an expired certification. That's really, really valuable, because I got to get on this is a fake firm, but I got to get on in theory. I got to get on these team members and make sure that they get certified, and that they get certified by June 30th or whatever the deadline is. So that's really neat. I'm digging those two features. Now let's go into QuickBooks Online, and I'm just going to do a quick time check here. I just want to make sure that we are not going to be over time. Okay, perfect. So first thing is they added new custom fields into QuickBooks Online. So Simple Start used to have 0 custom fields. Now it has 1. Now this kind of happened because QuickBooks was in the process of killing tags, and they were going to use custom fields as the quote replacement of tags. But then they realized how difficult it was to translate the data, and they got some pushback from customers that tags were fundamental to their business, and they needed for the tax returns or whatever. So they backtracked on the tags, but they didn't backtrack on giving custom fields to Simple Start. So that's a net good thing. Now even Simple Start has one custom field. Now Essentials and Plus has always had 3 custom fields, and they added 1 more. So now it's got 4 custom fields. Again, all from this tags custom fields apparent transition. And Advanced, no change there. Still has 12 per type, same as before. Okay, let's go into the new bank feeds screen. This is still one of my least favorite I still, I usually I'm not shy of telling you my opinion on stuff. I personally, even though I think they did a pretty decent job, I personally don't yet see the efficiency benefit of the new bank feed screen. Like I don't immediately go, oh, okay, I see where this is going to improve my life. I just don't see it yet. And I know not all of you have access to it, or maybe some of your clients have access to it or not. So that's something to that you will determine, or you can make decision upon yourself. So I'm going to zoom in maybe 100% here, and I'm going to let me just turn off RightTool because I don't want you to see things that are not available across all versions of QuickBooks Online. So let me turn off all the RightTool features. But in the new banking screen, we have this hasn't changed. You got a drop-down menu for all your accounts. You have the reorder account. This screen, which is horrible, it hasn't been designed or updated forever, and it's just like disgusting to work with. A little tiny box and this little pencil button and this little tiny only 3 lines that you have. It's just horrible. This is horrible. They haven't updated that. Like that needed to be updated. This little reorder that they haven't updated that, so that's still the same. There is a provide feedback and switch back to old banking page option. So if you don't like this banking page, you can switch back to the old one. They changed the terminology. So like this says pending. I forget what it used to say before. I think it said for review, maybe, if I'm almost. And then posted had a different name. Forgot what it was. And then excluded, that's consistent, but it's still the same 3 things, right? It's for review, whatever the middle one was, which is now called posted, and then excluded. Now, on this side, I actually like the discrete search box. It's sort of very clear, very square. I like this. I have nothing against this. Okay, it works pretty well. You put what you're searching. It filters that information out pretty good. It's got a date filter that hasn't changed, and the type of transaction that hasn't changed. But I do like the search box is very clean. So I have nothing against that. Where this starts getting a little bit hairy is that you have a different style in which you are going to be entering new transactions. So the most significant change here now this is positive, being able to upload an attachment right from the screen. I love that. That's net good. That's a great thing. But these drop-down menus now they have a little bit of an inconsistent feel. So we have like the vendor menu is like somewhere in the middle, but then the match categorize is sort of in the top. I know this is kind of anal when it comes to aesthetics, but just like, why not align them? That just drives me crazy. Like, why not align them? Now there's usually, or you can't, but I think on the older edition, you were able to make them a little bit, like expand the kerning a little bit, but the spacing between the fields, but you don't. So like this stuff not aligned, like to me, that's kind of dumb. Okay, but should be an easy fix. But the reason why they did that is because they created this new toggle looking thing called match categorize that looks like a toggle, but it's really just a button. So when I click on match, I go into like a traditional matching screen, okay? And that works just fine. But the problem is that these buttons look like a toggle and it's not a toggle. So like that's confusing. Like as a user, I feel that's confusing. Like it should be a match button or a different process for matching. It just looks strange. But right now this is on, let's call it categorize mode, right? Which is, it just looks like it's toggled on categorized. And then you get your automatic categorization, which is fine. I'm actually okay with that. You got these little stars here. And if you click on the little stars here, the magic thing or whatever, if you click on that, then you get this expands and then it shows you why, sort of the logic on why it picked that category for you. Now, I'm going to say that as an accountant, as a bookkeeper, obviously I like that this could make my life easier. I like that. The problem is I cannot turn this off. So if I feel, and I truly feel that these new things that they added to it slows down this screen. Like this screen just feels slower. Like everything takes like an extra half a second to load. And in my mind, if I was able to get rid of this, because it's really not as useful as I thought it would be, it could load faster. But then you're asking me for like feedback. Like I don't have time, but while doing bank feeds, to give you feedback in like how helpful or not helpful the Gen AI is. Like I totally get it that Intuit needs feedback to make this screen better. But most accounting professionals like are really not they're not looking for this, right? Because this stuff doesn't really help them, because usually they know how to categorize things better than what QuickBooks could. Again, I know this is a work in progress, and there will be a point in time where this categorization will get really good. But sometimes you get really odd categorization options. Like for example, this Boardwalk expense, Zeno's Boardwalk suite. I think it was like some candy store. This chose test long-term liability. I mean, why? Like it says here that this suggests that the purchase is coffee or snacks, but then it tells me to use a long-term liability account. That's just insane. Like so this is like AI hallucinating. You do have this little like page screen, like if it doesn't fit in one page. But again, I just feel like it's such a hit and miss sort of gimmick that as an accountant, I just feel that it just slows me down. Like here, BP, I went to a gas station, BP, and this thing is suggesting that it should be utilities. Okay, yeah, I know BP is oil and gas, but it's oil and gas for my car, not oil and gas for my office, right? And then Burrito Beach, I guess I bought a burrito somewhere, is suggesting travel. Again, and that's the thing. It's like, I know at some point this will get better, but right now it gets in my way of productivity. So I just don't like what they're doing here. You do have the post button, which it's interesting. They're using post instead of add, which is fine, or add or create. I know they've gone to different iterations of what this looks like. You still have your split option here. Okay, it's kind of hidden, but it's in there. What you used to have in this page, you should have a split button here. Like that's one of the challenges I have is why I don't have the split button here. Why do I have to go into a drop-down menu to go into split? Same thing with create rule and categorization history. Like all these things should be explicit buttons that are down here, which by the way, with RightTool, you can turn them on and we add that for you. I won't demo that because we're running over time. But RightTool will add little red buttons that give you access to all that. But just like, again, this screen just drives me nuts. It just like I don't see, like I see where it's heading to, but I don't see how anyone walks out of this and says, this screen is making me more productive. So that's all I got to say about that. I know it's quite a bit. I would love to know in the chat, I'm going to save the chat and read the chat later. Has any of you that have gotten that screen, the new banking screen, have seen any actual improvements in suggestion quality, on categorization quality, on speed? Like has anybody actually seen any improvement? I would love to know so I could publicly apologize to Intuit for misleading the people here watching these videos that this is not really productive. But like I personally haven't found productivity, and I don't want to speak on everybody's behalf. But that's what the new screen is. Then if it was so the other interesting, probably not such fun thing for accountants is the new Fusion design. So I know it's kind of hit and miss. Some of your clients may have it, some haven't. I'm going to show you an account that has it so you kind of get an idea for what it is. So essentially what Intuit did here is they're testing a complete redesign of the homepage. And this is not a complete surprise. Like during Intuit Connect last year, they did sort of hint that they were going to do something related to this, that they were going to change the look. And one of the things that they want to do is they want people to feel that they are working in a single platform that can manage all your small business needs. And maybe possibly this new change on the API could be a way of having less third-party apps in the ecosystem and more internal tools where QuickBooks somehow will make the product better to make it more complete, so you don't need a third party. That would be that's I don't like what that does to innovation as a whole, but I would like QuickBooks to do more things, of course. So the first thing they did is they did away with the flat menu system, and they have these new icons that kind of looks like they're apps. So they look like they're apps inside of the ecosystem, but they haven't added any functionality. They just changed the look and feel of the navigation bar. So if you want to go into accounting, transactions, and banking, you have to hover over the icon, go to transactions, then go to banking. Okay. Now, once you do that, then the sub menu opens. So instead of having one flat menu that covers everything, they're all like sub menus, right? So you don't get to expand and see all the options of the menu in one shot. You only get to see them once you click on this little like app looking icons. But then you get the exact same functionality that you're used to. You can collapse that secondary menu, but you can't collapse that left Fusion navigation bar. Now, one thing that I find like mind-blowingly interesting, and this I literally found out by accident, is when I am zoomed in at 100%, I get this new Fusion model. But when I zoom in to 125% or more, the left navigation bar disappears, and then I get what looks a lot more like the old navigation bar, but I can't get it to stick. Like it still hovers over the page. So I can't get it to like kind of be like a classic mode where I have the fixed left navigation bar, so I can still open and close it. So when I zoom in, it feels a little bit more like the older style. So I kind of like that. However, what I hate about the zoomed in version, which I'm going to call this the iPad version, right? Because this might be more of like an iPad look and feel, is that my gear menu goes away. I no longer have the gear menu. So there's a lot of stuff that I used to access from the gear menu when I'm zoomed in that I can't access with these three little dots here. So obviously I hate that. Absolutely hate that. I also hate that when I'm zoomed in, my new transactions button goes away. I have to click on these three little dots and then click on add new. That's horrible. That's just like I don't know who approves these designs. Like they make no sense. You still get the bookmarks here, which is nice. You can bookmark different pages. But again, I do a lot of stuff zoomed in for one reason or the other. I got a really big screen. I'm doing a webinar. I'm doing a video. I hate the fact that I lose the structure of what I'm used to with my gear menu that has everything that I need once I zoom in. Okay, and when I'm not zoomed in, my new transaction button on the left hand side went away, but they added it in with this. If you look at the little circle here up here, they added it in there. So that's okay. That's fine. But I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know who is giving into a feedback that they're saying they like this. Now, to be fair, accountants, we all hate change. Like we we don't want any change. We want everything to look the same. We're creatures of habits. We have mechanized in our heads what is the sequence of clicks that we have to do to get to places. We don't like having to think every time where do I click? What is this? Is this new? Does it have new stuff? It's distracting. So I get it that I'm a little bit biased when it comes to that, but I would love to know, even brand new users, if they like that or if they're actually testing people's efficiency. Because I don't feel more efficient by now going into like having a navigation bar here, having a plus button here, having a gear menu here. Like everything is like all over the place. It just feels like it's not built for a power user. It is built for the user that wants to feel that they're in a really modern, pretty software running from an iPad or whatever, but it's not for the power user, in my opinion. Okay, there's one thing that I do like from this new Fusion model, which is called Zen mode. Now, I think Zen mode is also being beta tested on a select group of people. So even if your screen looks like this, you might not have Zen mode installed. But I gotta tell you, if there's one thing that I'm gonna gush over and go gaga over, is the new Zen mode. I absolutely love it. So you hit Command period, and it gets rid of everything, and it just full screens the current screen that you're in. Look at that. I can zoom in and zoom out, and I'm not bothered by a top navigation bar, by a search bar, by a left navigation bar. I'm in Zen mode, like I'm in my zone. So I absolutely love this. And you just hit control plus, or sorry, command period on the Mac. I don't know what it looks like on the PC, if it's control period. So I'll ask you to try control period or command period in the Mac. And that's me tapping. So I've Zen mode on, Zen mode off, Zen mode on. So I love this. I gotta tell you, like I know I criticized a bunch of the other things that I love, and I like the fact that you can. It was designed for the bank feeds originally, but I like the fact that it works in other screens as well. So if I'm like, I don't know, if I'm like in a P&L report or something, okay, let's say I'm pulling up a P&L, and I don't have a lot of data in this file, but say I run my P&L and I do Zen mode, it gets rid of all the other crap. I love that. I just like when it comes to reports and bank feeds and bank registers and screens in which I need as much real estate as possible, I absolutely love being able to do that. Just get rid of the extra stuff and just give me a little bit more real estate. Every piece of real estate counts when trying to be productive in QBO, so I actually like that. The other thing that's pretty neat is the new updated search screen. So if you have if you read in the search screen and you see the word help in the faded gray suggested things, when you search anything, for example, I'm going to search the word reverse, it found a transaction that contained the word reverse in the memo, but it also found help topics that contain reverse. So I don't hate that. As an accountant, I don't think I'll find myself too much searching for help. But I think that this new like sort of fusion search mode, where it searches inside transactions, but also searching inside help, that could be really useful. So I think that could be really useful. It doesn't seem like once you're in this page, it doesn't seem to be as sort of precise as here. Like it almost feels like in the search screen, like it's going to find something specifically with that search result. It is pre-filling search results to make it easier for me to find that, but then it still has to search through help and find articles. I actually like the way this is going. I don't see myself as an accountant using that very much, but I do like the way that's going. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to switch to a company file that has data, and I'm going to show you what I like about the new search screen. So that's one facet of it. It's being able to search inside of help, okay? And I think for end users that will be useful. But another interesting facet of this is, let me go into one of these clients that have data, is that you can configure sort of the look and feel of the new search page. So let me wait until that loads so I can show you. Okay, so I'm going to click on advanced search, and a couple of things are interesting here. So these filters here, so I got date range, transaction type, reference number, contact, amount. Let's say that I need more things. I need memo, description, tracking number, products and services. So you have almost every field that can be searched here. So that's amazing, including, by the way, custom fields. So we got custom fields here. I got QBO Advanced in this file, so I have tons of custom fields. So I can search by any of those custom fields, which is great, including location and class. But here when I click on customize, I mean, I'm sort of overwhelmed by the amount of filters that are available. I can choose only the filters that I want to see, right? So I can uncheck all these. Okay, I wish there was a select all and select none button, but of course that would be helpful, and QuickBooks doesn't really do helpful right off the bat until we say that. But so if you're listening to this Intuit, I would love a select all, select none button for this, because it's a perfect example where I have a lot of custom fields, I have a lot of things that I have to do a lot of clicking, and I kind of feel like a maniac. So I want to only have class, location, date range, transaction type. Let's say that's how I want to do it. And on top of that, I can reorder how I want this search to work. So I love this. I love this. I can choose what are the default fields that I want to search for my transactions. and I can choose the order in which they show up. I absolutely love that. Like I'm completely mind blown in terms of how well they executed. I mean, with the exception of like select all, select none type of thing, but I completely mind blown how well they executed. You know, being able to pick the filters that you want to use on a search. It would be awesome to have something like this working on a report too, where I can have filters on top and have a report and quickly do it on a report. That would be kind of amazing too. But we don't have that, so I'm asking for too much at this point. And then being able to reorganize the columns. I feel there should be a lot more columns here. I feel that the amount of columns of data that they give you is very limited. I feel that they should be able to bring a lot more data points in this case. But, you know, let's go baby steps. So if they do bring more data points, that would be great. But I like the fact that I can change the order in which I want to see this information. So again, based on how I work, based on how I look for information, based on how I research information, the search screen could be completely customized. So kudos to the QuickBooks team for the advancements they're making on the search screen, because this search screen is getting really, really, really good. Again, I think we need a lot more fields to show here. I think we need to be able to select all and select none for filters here. And I also feel that we should have an export button that instead of exporting into a CSV like it does here, I want to be able to export this into a report, like literally convert the search screen into a custom report. That would be incredible, because if I do that, then in the custom report, I can expand the columns I want to see. So that's kind of the key here is that maybe in this screen, I'm restricted on what columns I want to see. But if I run the filters and then I convert this into a report, then I could potentially expand the columns I see in a report, which is why I feel that Intuit should take it one step further and go that route. Okay, so we went the hour. I didn't get a chance to talk about Intuit Enterprise Suite, so I'll make a video about that. Send me an email if you have any questions. In the chat screen before you leave, was this useful? I mean, like, is this, because I do these webinars every quarter and I used to do them every month. You know, was this useful? Like, is this the type of stuff that you want to continue to see? What else would you like to see different on the webinars, that sort of thing? You know, because it just takes a lot of research to kind of put that together. And lastly, I just want to plug one more infomercial. If you get value from the work that I do and you're an accounting professional, bookkeeper, accountant, and you're going to be in New York on June 9th, come join us. It's going to be an amazing event. We have a couple people signed up already. It's a small 20-person event. It's in Midtown by the Penn Plaza. It would be worth your investment. And I guarantee everything that I do, I guarantee it like this. If you buy anything from me, course, live workshop, conference, template, whatever, and you're not satisfied, I give you your money back. I'm telling you, if you could be in New York and you want to improve your communication skills, we use the Exactly What to Say book inspired by this, and we teach accounting professionals how to communicate, how to ask the customers better questions, how to communicate their value, so eventually they can increase their prices with less pushback. And of course, for those of you that are coming to Miami, that conference is already sold out. Don't need to do a lot of selling for that one. I'd love to see you there. So I'll see you guys next quarter. Thank you very much. And we'll end the webinar now.